Thank you so much. Super excited to be here. Thank you for the intro. I want to kick it off with a question. So how many of you are here either freelancers or working at the agency? So please put your hands up. Okay, so almost everyone. Good. Okay, so I think this presentation might be useful for you to see basically how within a company as us or an enterprise client, how we basically approach this process. So it's also good for you to see basically how a company does it and how you can help in that process of evaluating, of helping during a launch and then migration. Good, so just quickly about me, there was already an intro, but for me, I work for 21Co. I'm a product designer since 8 years, and I'm leading basically design at 21Co. 21Co is a holding company, so we are like the parent company of 21Shares, which we're going to talk about today, and 21BTC, Block Sensei, and I'm managing basically 3 teams, which is product design, brand, and web infrastructure. Good. The goal of this presentation is really to give you the overview why a company like us switched to Webflow, how individual contributors can actually have a huge impact with Webflow, which was many years ago not possible. Now basically with Webflow almost everything is possible with just one person, right? So the impact is actually huge. And then also how Webflow saves us time and money. Good. About 21Shares. So we are the world's largest crypto ETP and ETF provider. Now that might sound unfamiliar to you. It's not something that you hear every day, but I will try to explain it as simple as possible what we actually do. Who actually knows what an ETP or an ETF is? Quickly, hands up. Okay, a couple. Good. I will try my best. What we do is basically there's all kinds of cryptocurrency, right? I'm sure you heard of Bitcoin, Doge, or Solana, or whatever. We take this currency and we wrap them into an ETF structure, right? And that ETF then, we basically launch it on stock exchanges. So it might be in the United States, which is our core market, in Switzerland, Germany. And over these stock exchanges, people then can go over their banks and brokers and access this cryptocurrency, meaning they can invest into them, right? So usually individuals, they invest into crypto over the Revolut app or whatever, right? But if we talk about asset manager, trading firm, family offices, that's like larger amounts. We're talking about hundreds of millions, billions. And they usually do that over the stock exchanges because they need something very regulated, right? Something which is very secure. So that's our main mission of the company. And for us, the website plays there a big role. So just here quickly in numbers, we do our 150 million revenue per year. We have 10 billion assets under management, around 50 of these ETPs and ETFs. We are the market leader in Europe, and we are basically 6 years live. Good. Now, as mentioned, the website is super, super important for us. Let me tell you why. So whoever comes to us on the website, it's either an investor, which wants to invest into our products. It's either an exchange, bank, or broker. As you have seen, that's important for them, basically because we launch on the exchanges and they need all the information around us. So they will come to our website and grab this data. Or regulators, like for example, the SEC, which some of you might have heard of in the US, which is quite big. And they come to us to do their due diligence. So meaning due diligence means they come to the website and want to see, is this someone legit? Like, do they do proper business? Do they have all documents, all data, everything? So it is a little bit like a data website, kind of, we can say, with lots of technicality around it. And we were also not sure if Webflow can do something like this, but I can show you in a second how basically Webflow really helped us there to accomplish the goal. So what the website needs to deliver, or having the core values, is basically trust, performance, and clarity for the people that get there. Internally, for us, basically in the company, we need to have all these teams, and they basically need to access that website, and it needs to work for all of them, right? So you see there's quite a lot of teams involved in this. It's not just one marketing person going in there. There's actually quite a lot of departments that heavily rely on this website. So was basically 21Shares delivering on these values before Webflow? Hell no, like really not. It was terrible. We had so many issues. I can also show you why. I wanted to put that like in a nice slide, like visually, but fact is, we just had so many issues that I had to do bullet points. It was really bad. So we had a huge engineering team working on the website. I mean, not huge, but like still for just one website, having 3 engineers and 1 product manager, it's a lot. Especially also you need to pay New York salaries and stuff, so that's almost like 700,000 to 800,000 just for keeping the website up and running. It took us basically 1 to 2 weeks to launch a new ETF. That's way too long. That needs to be in the days. We had a lot of incorrect financial data on the site because we had like front-end calculations was pretty complicated and so on. It took us 1 month to go into a new region, which is also way too long, right? You want to be flexible, you want to be fast, especially in like the crypto space where everything moves a bit fast. Marketing pages took very long. And then stakeholders in general, they hated Strapi. They absolutely hated it. So what always happened, in the end, they didn't even went inside it. They always went to the product manager and were basically saying, do it for me. And that guy was completely burned out because you've seen all these teams, they all went to him and he was doing everything because he was the only one knowing how that actually works. So it was really a bad experience. And then for me, with my designers, or basically every time we had a design, it was also a problem because every time we designed something, it just looked completely different than what we have done, which was also not a good experience for us. Good. So this slide here, I just want to showcase, at the beginning I mentioned that how basically individual contributors can have a massive impact, right? And this basically shows you that what we did within the company, we said like, okay, we want to do a switch to something better. But inside the company, you have many stakeholders, and it's super hard to convince these people like, oh, you know, now we're going to allocate 300,000-400,000 somewhere else because this is not working, right? So you need to basically prove it somehow. And that's actually the power of Webflow, because literally within 1 day, a designer, a marketer, and a front-end developer came together, and they just built or rebuilt some of the parts of the website that we had, and we're just able to showcase like, listen, everything what we want to do, more or less, is going to work with Webflow, right? You see there we focused on like CMS integration, custom visualization, backend, localization, and all these kind of things. But like that's the most powerful thing about Webflow. Everyone can come, do something quickly, prototype something quickly together, go to stakeholders, and really try to sell the process from there. And for us, it was actually very easy. I was thinking it's going to be a shit show, right? People will say like, no, too expensive, migration, and so on. It's going to take long. But in the end, the VP of product, we just showed him this POC, which is the proof of concept that it can work. He went to the VP of marketing, the founders. Within a week, we had sign off to do this. So it was actually super, super simple. And that would have not been possible without Webflow. So this actually is super powerful. So even if you sell to customers or so, if you can do some prototyping quickly and showcase them the value of it, how quickly it can be done, I think that is like a very good selling point. So we had like then this, I call it our 4 migration plans. Back then it was not exactly like this, but I tried to summarize it here. So first of all, it was clear to us we need Webflow Enterprise, right? Because we have 6 regions, 16 languages. We need branching and enterprise support. So we went basically to Webflow. That's the usual process. And then Webflow recommended us actually an enterprise partner. We also sourced other ones, but I think you all know this logo. And once we basically were talking to Flow Ninja, it was for us immediately clear we will go 100% with them. So I feel like for every freelancer, everyone, it is important basically these points there. So complete large migrations, yes, that's enterprise and so, but one point I want to highlight is the easy to work with. For a company, that's super, super important. It should be not underestimated. And Flow Ninja was really the first one which we felt like, okay, we can work with these guys 24/7, 365. They are not just like nice as a person, but also knowledgeable, but also say actually their opinion. I don't think it's always best to agree always with the customer, whatever they want. So be honest. If something is not possible, I can tell you most of the time that sells better than just saying like, oh yeah, we can make it happen or whatever. Because out of the 6 or 7 agencies that we sourced, 6 or 7 were actually like, oh yeah, we can make happen, we can everything make happen. And Flow Ninja were the first one which say like, no, actually not everything is possible in the way you want it, and we appreciated that honesty a lot. Good. Then one other thing which we did basically is custom API and content migration, which is just overall that you see that there was kind of a lot of technical complexity, and a lot of things that I heard within the companies like, oh, Webflow can actually not handle that. It's not possible for Webflow to do custom APIs, or I mean, it is possible, but it's going to be pretty complex, right? But in this case, there was basically a lot of the things that we also discussed with Flow. They were like, okay, it is possible, but you might use Xano, Wist, or whatever other tools. But in the end, it is possible, right? So that gave us a lot of hope, but also confidence in that end. So all we did basically, we then, we have a lot of financial data on the website. So we had to put that all into an API, basically that everything goes to the same data. And then Flow Ninja did a wonderful job with Wist and Xano and built up this page. And I feel, again, that's like a super strong point for Webflow. Even at the beginning, if it might see like, oh, something is not possible, there's so many plugins and tools that is a super powerful tool. And then just content migration, migrating all this content. And one of the most important things, and I think that's also for every freelancer or agency or also out there, education. What we did already early on, before even the migration was done or anything, we started to educate people within the company, right? And also thanks to the help with Flow Ninja. But like that's one of the most important parts where usually also projects like this fail, is because there's just not enough education all around, and stakeholders are afraid, they don't want to switch to something, and it takes a long time until get used to it. So whatever you do also as freelancer, as an agency, make sure the education part is also very early on in the process already included. That can be documentation, that can be educating the teams hands-on, but it's just very important because these people, they are not the experts, and they just need that it works, right? It's not their main problem in the day. So for them, it just has to be fast and convenient. Good. The entire migration took us 6 to 8 weeks, which again was a super strong selling point for Webflow, because usually these things takes around 3-4 months, if not even more, with other systems, right? But Webflow, we literally done it in 6 to 8 weeks, thanks to Flow Ninja. But that part, basically, that you can get it fast over the line, is actually super strong. And I feel like that's only possible with Webflow. Good. Now, is 21Shares delivering on its core values after Webflow? Hell yes. So again here, just in the bullet points, but we achieved 300,000 now in annual cost savings. I'll be blunt here. We basically removed 2 people to a different team. 2 people, we let them go because there was no need for them anymore, which sounds harsh, but that's basically an outcome also of that. We have a faster website, go-to-market or product launch, basically 1 to 2 days instead of weeks. 99.9% financial data accuracy, which is very important for us. And we reduced go-to-market speed also from 1 month to 1 week, cut marketing. And then here, most important for me internally, because for me this kind of was like showing the fuck you finger to the people inside the company, which were very much against Webflow. And there was a lot of them. Especially from the engineering part, because, you know, front-end engineers or like back-end engineers, they're like, I don't know, it's like a no-code tool, it's not gonna work, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, we showcased them that it's gonna work, because this is actually an older metric, but 30.7 or 37.5% people complained less inside the company about basically website issues. Before, so we have like a Slack channel, and that Slack channel, you know, all the stakeholders could come in and it's like, this is not good, this is not good, this is not good, change, right? Now that channel is almost dead. There's maybe like 1 request per week, max or so. So for me, that was like the key metric to basically showcase everyone, this actually works. On top of that, this was very like data-driven stuff. On top of that, we also, during this 6 to 8 weeks, we actually also redesigned the entire thing, right? Because Webflow and design, that just works so super fast that we also said like, okay, let's also optimize the UX and the UI, which we did internally. We handed over to Flow Ninja, and they did literally within a week, the entire design. I think it's like 50, 60 pages or something like that. Everything was there. So that just shows the beauty of this, right? Good. If you want more information around this, I would say visit 21shares.com or read our case study on Webflow. So Webflow also did a case study on us because again, it was a very, very technical product, and for them that was exciting that actually someone with a lot of like financial data and so on is using this product or is using Webflow. So read the case study, or otherwise we also did a webinar with Uroš, where we go really deep into all the technical details, which I will save you from that for now. Good. That's it. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed it. Yep. Back. Thank you.